You're listening to Mind, Body, Home with your host, Sara Ann. Ever since travel restrictions lifted post-pandemic, the travel industry is booming and expected to make a full recovery by the end of 2024. According to a 2022 survey conducted by YouGov, 35% of travelers state that travel has now become more important to them since the pandemic. Additionally, in another survey, travelers expressed a strong desire to hear of other travelers' stories and share their own experience. And it is no surprise that 92% of young travelers said they were inspired by social media in some way for their last trip. There's no denying that the pandemic and social media have changed our perception of travel. But here's something to ask yourself. Are you traveling or desiring to travel based on where your friends or coworkers are going or what is currently a trendy destination? Or is your heightened desire to travel a deeper call from within? I believe it's the latter, but most of us might not be aware that the call is even there. That's where transformative travel comes in. My guest today is Sonia Cruz Pro, a certified travel coach who specializes in transformational travel. In a world where tourism often remains superficial, Sonia believes that travel can be a transformational experience, catalyst for self-discovery and personal growth. Sonia helps her clients explore the world and themselves in a deeper and more meaningful way. With degrees in psychology and leadership, in addition to 20 years of international coaching experience, Sonia founded Travel Awakens to help people restore their sense of wonder and appreciation for the places they visit while discovering a new, more authentic version of themselves. If you are seeking answers you cannot find in the midst of everyday life or at a crossroads moment, or simply wanting to explore the heart and soul of a destination, then I know you're going to enjoy this conversation with Sonia. Please enjoy. Sonia, thank you so much for being a guest on the Mind, Body, Home podcast. I'm really excited for our conversation today. So thank you for being here and for your presence.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Sara.
Absolutely. So, Sonia, we're both in the coaching business to help guide people on personal transformations, right? And, we're seeing a lot of that right now. I think at this point in time on our planet, a lot of people are going through that, what I believe is sort of this evolution of our species, truly. And, I do that through the home. I do that through feng shui and helping people see their environment as a conduit for self-discovery. And you do that through travel. And I think I read somewhere on your website that travel can be a great catalyst for transformation, but it's really only a vehicle, right? And so if we want to see the change and growth, or we want that to be lasting, can't be travel alone. And I thought that was a really great concept. And I'd love for you to expand on that. I think that's a great place for us to start.
Yes, definitely. And I love having conversations with people and other coaches who are also helping through transformation, to achieve transformation through different methodologies, because the way we do that is not really what's the important. The important is the result and the outcome that people are looking to achieve. So with travel is something that I think intuitively many people feel called to travel when they are going through transition or they want a positive change in their lives. But if you just travel, without intention, and you just travel to the way that many people, because I believe lately, especially, travel has become too easy, too accessible, it lost all the meaning. You book a flight and a hotel, and this is travel. So, but you're doing the same that you're doing at home to a different location. You're just moving locations. If your intention is to change something in your life, you need to do something more than that. So there is a process of preparation, setting intentions, and a process of self-reflection that's important as well, that not many people take the time to do. And they just hope travel can bring this change for themselves without them doing any inner work.
Absolutely. I love that you're bringing that up because I think, what I wrote down as you were saying that is like social media. There's this glamour to travel right now, and now it's sort of trendy almost. But, and same thing, prior to me being a feng shui consultant and coach, I was doing interior design. It was same thing. Everybody wanted the nice, pretty house that they were seeing on Instagram. And so it's really very much aligned in the same context that, when you put some intention behind it and you do the self-reflection, that's really the missing piece. And I think that is what really inspired me to go into coaching too, because it was like, that's the missing piece to all of this. And we can travel, we can have these experiences, and we can decorate our homes a certain way, but unless we're being really intentional about it, we're not really serving ourselves at all.
Yeah. Yes. And when we make the decisions to make sure we do it, for what reason we are doing it? It's just because it's trendy, because our colleague is feeling this place, or somebody told us that was, special. We need to check that. If you don't stop and think about why do you want to travel and then make the decisions from that place, you're going to just do the same that other people do without any, it's going to be empty. It's going to be something superficial. And I think this is the problem nowadays with travel. People don't go deep. It's just stays in the superficial aspect of travel. And maybe they arrive there and it's like, oh, okay, that was great. I checked that box and that's it, right? I think it's about to slow down and go deeper. And this requires time. You need to invest time. It's more about choosing few places and going deeper rather than seeing everything and just stay in the top of it.
Right. I think we're seeing that also with retreats. We're seeing the retreat industry just booming right now. And again, I think part of it is it's a trend and everybody wants to jump on that. I know you also offer retreats. And so I'm curious, as a coach too, do you sort of vet your clients a little bit and what they want to get out of their retreat? Are you finding people are just doing it because it's a trend, or do you have a little bit of say and, we need to do a little inner work on this as well?
Yeah, so the retreats that I'm offering right now are only a specific kind of trip, which is a pilgrimage to Camino de Santiago. So this is the only thing that I offer in my services. Although I offer coaching to anyone who wants to travel anywhere, mostly women traveling solo. And then we have these 3 stages always, even if it's with coaching or with my retreat. So we have the preparation phase, which is before departure. And then we have the trip itself. And then we have the post trip, which is time for reflection and incorporation of the learnings. Because otherwise, what happens is people go back to status quo. They tend to slip back to old patterns and routines. And maybe they have, they got some change, but they go back home and people around them didn't change necessarily during this time. So unless they do something intentionally to maintain these changes or this state of, these sometimes are emotions. You come back feeling different, but if you do nothing about it, you will go back to where you were. So let's say people travel because they feel burnout, or they are stressed, or they are overwhelmed, and they're gonna go on a wellness retreat, and that's charge their batteries. But if they go back home and they start doing again what they were doing, the same routines, they're gonna be burnout again sooner than later. So they will need another trip. So this is what we want to change, right? So this time away, when you are traveling, you are out of your comfort zone, you are out of your wheel, the routine that every day is the same and the same. You stop, you can have a different perspective of your life situation and use that for, for moving forward. Use this information. I think we waste this potential. And you said earlier, it's a catalyst for change, travel. It is really. It frees you from expectations. It puts you out of your comfort zone, the only place we can grow. So use this information about yourself, about others, about the world to really make a positive change in your life if this is what you are looking for.
Yeah, I love it. I think it really still goes back to that intention. I want to go back to what you said about where you mentioned women traveling solo. Have you found that clients come to you that maybe are hesitant because of that? I think a lot of people have never traveled solo before, or, maybe there's some, fears with traveling in general. How do you help support people who really want this sort of experience, but have some reservations about doing it?
Yes, there are different reasons why women come to me. And some of them, they're afraid to travel solo because they never done before and they want to make sure it's safe and they do it, in a way that's safe for them. But I think also one of the problems we have, especially women, we are not used to invest in ourselves, and we don't give the permission to ourselves to do that just as a gift to ourselves. It's like we invest this time and the money for other people with no problem, but when it's about investing in ourselves, they think and think and think until they finally make the decision. So I think this is the biggest challenge. But of course, you cannot help anyone who is not ready. So this is a decision they have to do for themselves. Once they make the decision, it's about, okay, where do I start, basically, right? So where to go, what to do, and how. So all this, we map out all this together. But of course, the fears, the limiting beliefs, sometimes is speaking to your family or your colleagues or your boss. You're going to take a year off, or you are going to go on a sabbatical, or you are going to go for a trip around Europe. So these conversations as well, they are scary because not everybody will understand. And sometimes this means taking a break from your career. And there are other pieces, that you need to put into place that, yeah, they need some support. Is something that they don't want to go on their own through all that. And also the things that they don't know, because we don't know what we don't know. So in being intentional and really making decisions that are going to be transformational for you as well. Being out of your comfort zone is scary. So when you have a coach, somebody who guides you through the process, it makes this dream that you have more likely to become true.
Absolutely. I think that really is probably true for those who aren't used to international travel as well, because I know that holds me back a little bit from booking certain things. I'm like, oh, I just don't know. What if like something happened, especially like airports, right? Like that's always like so stressful for so many people. And am I going to be able to read the signs? And, am I going to be able to communicate? I could appreciate the fears that come up, especially for women traveling alone, I could imagine. I wanted to go back to when you mentioned being out of your comfort zone and being intentional, like, what any vacation does for you, even when you're not intentional. So I can only imagine when we put this sort of effort into being very intentional about where we want to go and why we want to go and what we want to get from it, how transformative it can actually be.
Totally, yes. And I know travel transforms. This is something that many people have experienced it without putting the intention, as you said. So the difference is if this change, this transformation is going to be intentional or it's going to be random. And the other important one, if it's going to be something temporary or it's going to be a change that's lasting. And we only can call transformation to a change that's lasting. Otherwise, it's just something temporary that was good at the time, but then I'm back to where I was, back to square one. So that are the two big differences when we are talking about intentional travel or hiring a travel coach or using travel as a catalyst for transformation.
Right. So I'm curious, I can only imagine that you personally have had a transformation through travel. Having now this is what you do for a living. So would you mind sharing a little bit of your story?
Yes, I always say that I was my first client. So that's how I discovered travel coaching and transformational travel. So my background is not in travel at all. I used to work in software. I was in IT multinational company. I'm originally from Spain, and I moved to Ireland because it was a promotion. The company I used to work for was a British company, so it had different all around the world, but UK and Ireland was the main one. So they opened a new office in Dublin, and that's why I moved. And this happened 8 years ago. But once I moved here, where I am now in Ireland, I got a couple of promotions more. And, going up the ladder was my definition of success, or the way I was told success was. And without thinking too much, was the next logical step to take. Going to the next promotion and the next promotion and go, as higher as you can to be successful in your career. And the international moving was part of this growth professionally as well, until I saw the opportunity that I thought rationally was, a big opportunity for me and was the reason why all the sacrifices and moving countries all finally would just pay off. But deeply inside, I didn't want that job. So it was like an internal struggle that rationally was like, of course, but in my heart was like, I was imagining myself in that role and I didn't see myself happy. So for the first time, I stopped and I said, okay, do you really want this and why? Right? So I didn't have this privilege, I suppose, to stop or the opportunity to think about why I was doing that. Was like, of course, you're going to do that. You've always been doing the same. Why are you going to stop now? So I decided not to go for this promotion, but then I didn't know what to do with my life because nearly 20 years, working for the same company and doing the same, it didn't make sense now to start again somewhere else. But I didn't put pressure on myself. And it's like, okay, I was looking, what are my other passions? So personal development is always been there. I have a degree in psychology. I have NLP. I'm a master practitioner in neuro-linguistic program. I love coaching. I did coaching courses. The personal development was big in my passions. So I knew I wanted to start my own business someday, and maybe I would be a coach, but didn't know exactly what kind of coach. Because, the life coach or business coach, or, there are many coaches. So my other big passion was travel. And I said, look, you know what? I know I didn't prioritize travel until that point because career was my priority. But now that career was not my priority anymore because basically I didn't know what to do, I embraced travel. And I did that year 15 trips to 11 countries in 12 months. So it was a transformation just of what was possible. But I think what happened as a result was I could not even imagine. So I changed my life and my career through that year of travel and prioritizing my passion. So I discovered then doing my research. It's like, okay, this what happened to me was not, random. It must be something. And I knew it had to do with travel, but I didn't know exactly what. So I started doing research, and it's when I discovered travel coaching. I got the certification. I discovered transformational travel. So I said, I found what I wanted, my passion, my sole purpose. So I quit my job, incorporate, and I started travel coaching. But this was just one part because this happened during the pandemic. So everybody was running away from travel and I was going all in. But it paid off after, of course, because during that time, I used that time to build my career. I started my own podcast as well at that time to just, let everybody know what I was doing, what travel coaching was, and gain this awareness that after when just all the restrictions, were resolved, I was in a good position to start doing this full time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that COVID was a huge part of this. I'm almost every single one of my guests, it's like the conversation always goes back to COVID somehow. Like it has played such a huge role in our lives and our transformations, right? I love what you're doing. And I think part of it, I want to shift gears a little bit, is I want to talk about astrocartography. And this is completely new to me. I was surprised that I never heard of this before because I'm into all of sorts of things such as this. And so I'm really curious to learn more from you about what this is. As I understand it, it's a discipline of astrology focused on one's birth chart and, places in the world and how those can come together and be supportive for maybe certain life events or something you want to experience. So I'd love to hear you elaborate on what that is.
Yes, and I found astrocartography also as a serendipity. I didn't know about it either, but when I discovered it, I was like, okay, my clients need that because I had my reading first, and it was so accurate and exactly the places I was and I was, living and racing at the times what things happened to me, important changes. So I wanted to use it for my clients. But it was, there is not so many professionals out there that do that. And I eventually had to learn it myself, which I'm glad because I enjoy it a lot. So I offer also these sessions as part of my services. So you describe it very well. Astrocartography is a methodology of astrology, but it's not focused on time as much as it's focused on space. So it's the astrology of places. So everybody have maybe heard about, the birth chart, and they have maybe done some readings. So astrocartography is the birth chart in 3D in a world map. So you can see the lines, the energetic lines for all the planetary archetypes in your chart, where they are crossing geographically in the world, which means that when you move geographically to those places, you are channeling this energy. So it's stronger, it's more accentuated for you. depending on the experience, the outcome, the goals, the transformation you have when you travel or you relocate. Because I have many people also thinking about moving, the place they live. So they want to find a place that feels like home. Maybe the place they are living now, they feel they don't belong there, and they have tried different places, but still it looks like they don't fit. So where in the world the energy is more supportive. Of course, does not mean that you will move there and everything will be, automatically all the problems solved, but it helps. It works with you instead of working against you, because there are also places that are more challenging, right? So it's about going to a place that's more supportive. So whatever you are doing or trying to achieve, it's going to be easier for you if you can channel that energy that's, supporting you in your goals.
So I'm curious about, do you get people that say, I have this really strong desire, like I belong in XYZ? Like a good example for me is I have a fascination with Italy. I don't know what it is, never been there, but I just really want to see like all of Italy. Another place that has done that for me was South Carolina. Ever since I was very young, it was same thing. Never been there, but for some reason, like it was specifically, it was Charleston, South Carolina. And then when I did eventually go, I fell in love with that place, and but it wasn't really somewhere I wanted to live, but there was just you feel these like calls to places. What do you
Yes,
think
yes.
about that?
No, definitely. And this is also a thing that people ask, So when you feel attracted to a place, culture, you know, is is your soul asking you to experience this part of your evolution? Because we grow through places as well, not only through time. So if you feel called to travel to Italy, not necessarily it's going to be a good place for you to live, but it's for you to experience something that you need to experience in this moment in your time. So some people feel attracted always to a place all their life, and some people right now, or lately, they feel attracted to a place, specific place. So this is your soul calling you. Go there because there is something for you. So this is something that we can also check with astrocartography, not only checking where you can go, but also why you feel attracted to those places and what's intended for you to experience there, right?
Mm,
So, as I said, depending on the intention, there are different places that are more beneficial or that are better for you to explore, depending on the moment on your life that you are going
interesting. I love that. I'm definitely going to be checking out my chart. I want to see what's going on in Italy.
through.
um, So you offer, it looks like astrocartography readings and then travel coaching. So are they two separate services?
Yes, they are two separate services. Astrocartography are single sessions. And then the coaching, I also have single sessions with coaching, but usually what people, need and want is packages. So with the coaching, people hire me for package of sessions that they can use in 6 months or in 1 year, either for a big trip or just they want to invest 1 year in travel, like I did. So that year is travel. So I want a travel coach to help me both map out the itineraries and help me to grow after each trip. So I have both options. And then the Camino de Santiago trips that I also do twice a year.
Okay. What do you tell us a little bit more about that? I think you just got back from one, correct?
Yes, yes, I was there recently and I'm going back in October. So I love Camino de Santiago. Well, I'm originally from Spain, so in Spain it's very big. I know that people in different parts of the world know about it. It's a place that's special. So it's an ancient pilgrimage that for, thousands or hundreds of thousands of people have walked through the centuries. And I believe the energy there, like what I say, when you go to a place that is good for you energetically, maybe rationally makes no sense, but you feel it in your body, you feel the energy is there. So this is a place that all these people through all these years with these good intentions at heart, prayers, and they have left the footprint there in Camino de Santiago. So you go there and you feel it is all around you, this energy. And being with nature, always being surrounded by nature, is beneficial for you, our immune system. We know how it boosts our health and mental health and the movement as well. So walking, doing exercise, frees your mind. We are always in our minds thinking, so it connects you more with your body, with earth, with the present moment. So the combination of all these factors, I think, is very transformational in itself. So I do the same. I prepare groups, or individuals. Some people want to travel on their own, but when they travel with me, we go with groups. So I prepare them before online. We prepare physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because majority of people will only prepare physically, and that's it. So we go through all the holistic preparation, and then we walk together. And then this is not the end of the Camino. When you arrive to Santiago de Compostela, is a turning point. So the second half of the Camino starts, which is the returning back home. How you can bring this benefit, how you can bring the Camino back home. So this is a post-trip incorporation session that we also do after.
Wow, that sounds lovely. Well, Sonia, this was so lovely to have you on. I want to give you the opportunity to let us know how people can find you if they're curious about traveling and working with a travel coach. Where can we find you and what information can you provide?
Thank you, Sara. Yes. So you can find me on social media, Sonia Cruz Oro. I am on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website is travelawakens.com. So that's a good way for people to connect with me or, reach out or just download some of the freebies I have on astrocartography or travel coaching. You can check out the website.
Wonderful. And we have your freebie. We'll put that in the show notes for astrocartography called The Best Destinations to Travel or Relocate. So I think people will be very interested in that. I think there's a lot of movement. People are moving a lot. I know I am. 3 moves in under a year. So it's been a lot. But yes, thank you, Sonia. It was so lovely having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sara, for having me. Pleasure.
Links to learn more about Sonia are in the show notes and can also be found by visiting travelawakens.com. You can support the Mind Body Home podcast by leaving a positive review on Apple Podcasts or subscribing on Spotify and YouTube. You can always connect with me on social media as well at Jade Scott Design. This is the final call for the summer moving sale over at jadescottdesign.com. Shop for elemental home decor and take 40% off your entire purchase in addition to receiving free shipping. No code is necessary. Your discount is automatically applied at checkout. A link to the shop is provided as well in the show notes. The shop will be temporarily closed on August 31st as my family and I prepare for our move to Florida. And lastly, be sure to subscribe to my email list. I'll be sharing more about Mind Body Home alignment coaching very soon, and I want you to be the first to know about it. The power of our home, just like travel, can become a huge catalyst for exploration and transformation. And I know this because I have witnessed it many times personally and with my clients. I know that this is going to be such a wonderful pathway for your own self-discovery and self-growth. Until next week, I'm sending you so much love and gratitude.